Hello, I'm Barbara, and I am a candle hobbyist. So I thought I'd get some things straight about my candle making. And I did the clay pot heater hack, and there are a few questions, so I'm trying to answer questions best I can. Now, most of this for me is a hobby. Um, I tried being in business, making candles, but it's impossible to beat the prices in the store, even if you try to do it by volume. Every time I've tried it, after 2 years, I was in the hole more the second time than the first time. So I just want everybody to have a safe environment. And so this is the candle that I was burning earlier. And if you look at it, the wick, which is this wick right here, okay, which normally goes for a 12, 16, 18 ounce candle, a bigger candle. And so I just trim it off, and then of course I'll dump it out before I relight it. And then what I have here is an example of the kind of wick. And these are hemp wicks, and I get them from Candle Wick. This company right here, oldest candle place in Pennsylvania that I know of. I do have scents from other companies that I like as well, but Candle Wick does a pretty good job of providing all the information you need to make candles and get the right products. This is an example of what kind of container would be appropriate for this larger wick. And this 4 ounce doesn't mean anything. The actual size of this one is missing now. It's gotten damp. And then on this candle here, these are the smaller wicks. The 1551. And they are braided hemp wicks. And usually what you do is you cut them to trim them like, I make them bigger than what I need. And then I soak the wicks in the soy wax when it's melted. And I always do everything over a double broiler. I'm at home. Remember, I'm not a manufacturer. I'm a home candle maker. But, a lot of people, since I've been doing it so long, a lot of people realize I make a really good candle. And so, like I said, I always do everything over a double broiler with the wax. So I take the wick. When it's cut, I put it in the wax. I let it sit there for about a minute or more. I take it out, let it drip off, and then I cool them before I set them in these pins here. And then I glue them with the hot glue gun into the bottom of the container and let all that cool before I even put the wax in. So as you see, this little wick here on this size container didn't do a good job. Now on a votive or a 4 or 5 ounce candle, even maybe a 6 ounce candle, it would work perfectly. It would burn the candle completely down. But see here, it left that. And the reason this one's so dark is because it was probably a paraffin candle. And then when it gets deep like that, such a deep vessel, the flame is what actually causes all that carbon buildup. It's just the flame. You'll notice there's not much on this one. And then here is like an 8 ounce or more type wick. And these work good to burn these down. As you see, this one burnt down. It was good wax again, not much residue. And because there's a lip at the bottom of the jar, it does leave a little residue. But you could light that again, and you can see the wick is quite off center now that it was hot. So these are just some of the things that I think you should know. And I used to use a much bigger wick tab, but I found out over the years these smaller ones work just as well. And as long as I'm not making a candle that's, over 20 ounces, then I don't have to change wicks. The most important thing is testing them, which is what I was trying to demonstrate with this, because I've been burning this for days. Now I know if I light this, I'm going to have to burn it at least 6 hours or more for it to continue to burn and burn completely down the sides, because I've experimented with that already and I know the time frame on it. This one I can't recover. So, being it's soft wax, more than likely I'll take that wax out and discard it. What you can do is put this under a lamp, and the scent is still in it. So the lamp will just warm up the wax enough to release the scent, and it'll eventually, make it melt if it's a hot enough lamp. And they make lamps specifically for that as well. You can actually buy a candle warming lamp. And so I don't know if you'll have any more questions after this, but the wick is very important in the process. These wicks, like this right off the spool that I get them, they're not going to burn a candle that great unless they've been soaked in wax, which is how you buy them. If you buy pre-made wicks with the tab already on them, they've usually been soaked in paraffin or soy. So I hope that explains a little bit more about burning a candle safely and why some don't burn properly. Sometimes it's the wick. This one is just because it moved off center. It got hot enough at the bottom that the glue or the wick tab moved a little bit. And the right size wick makes all the difference. So if you have any other questions or anything like that, let me know. And I'll try to make some more information about the waxes. But right now I don't have a large supply of wax. Normally I use soy wax and I mix it with the palm wax. It does great with the scent for some reason. It's like the palm wax gives the soy wax enough solid foundation that it retains the scent, and you can smell the scent when you're burning it. And even if you're not burning it, if you have it in a room and there's no other bad odors in the room, you come back into the room, you'll smell the candle if it's not covered. So that's one good thing about those two waxes. The other wax I use is beeswax, and I'm looking for a new supply of that's organic from the farm. And that also makes the soy wax in here more solid because it is a more formidable wax. And beeswax naturally absorbs odor. So when I incorporate beeswax into a candle, I may often add maybe a little bit of coconut oil or coconut wax just to make it emulsify correctly and hold the scent. But as it releases the scent that you put in the candle, it also, beeswax naturally absorbs the odor in the air. So that's a very nice candle, especially if you're making them for friends or family or just for yourself. I mean, I think back when I started this, candles weren't that expensive. However, what was expensive was replacing them all the time. So I found out that, in the beginning, I bet you I spent between $300 and $500 a year for the bulk supplies. But then I had candles, and I could give them away for every holiday, birthday, all my family and friends. So there was always plenty. So I think there's other ways around having good ingredients in your house. As far as essential oils, no, they're not for me. The candle scents, like from Candle Wick or Nature's Garden, even Candle Science sometimes, those scents are chemical scents, yes. So that's kind of putting chemicals in your candle, but they're not toxic when they burn. And they incorporate into the wax. So they release the scent slowly versus an oil, a natural oil, can be toxic to small animals if it was actually in the liquid oil or separated from the candle wax and the liquid oil was burning. That could be toxic. Also, they don't have a very strong scent. So where you might add 3 teaspoons to a candle like this of scent and it would be really strong, you need like 2 times that or 3 times that with essential oil to make the candle smell that strong, and then you lose the consistency. So more than likely you're going to have the oil separate as the candle gets warm and burns, which I don't think is so great. So I've never been a real fond of natural essential oils, although if you use them in an atomizer, that's fine. I mean, that's exactly how they were meant to be used. Or if you mix them with a carrier oil like almond oil, you know, they can be used and applied to the body too, as long as you don't have a sensitivity to them. So I went on a little bit more than I thought I was going to go on when I got into scents. But this candle I made for a friend, and these two are giveaways. So thank you very much. And if you have any questions, put them below or put them somewhere so I can get a hold of them. Thanks.